Welcome everybody to Magnolia on Money,
where we discuss everything financial from the economy to retirement.
This is Magnolia on Money. Welcome back everybody. We're still on our estate planning tools. Today we're going to talk about revocable trust and irrevocable trust. So in general, there are two main branches of trust that we see most often. We see revocable trust and irrevocable trust. We're going to talk about the two and what the general differences is between the two of those. So let's go ahead and get to it. So these are the four areas we'll talk about and the difference. So when we're looking at revocable trust, the structure of the revocable trust is whoever, we call it the grantor, they own and control the trust. So if you are the person, they're the grantor, the person that sets up the trust, you still own the trust. You're the trustee of the trust, and which gives you the control of that. And then ownership, you retain ownership. So control, ownership, which we talked about there. Protection. So what is a revocable trust used for? Typically, revocable trusts are, they're not creditor protected, they're not lawsuit protected. They're generally used for probate avoidance. So that's kind of the general sense as to what most people use revocable trust for. And remember, revocable means we can revoke it at any time. So it's not something that is set in stone. We can revoke it, we can change it. That's why it's called a revocable trust. And then the taxation, it typically a revocable trust is going to be any income generated would show up on your tax return as the person that set up the trust. And once again, these are generally speaking. Trust can be written a million different ways, but generally the tool used as a revocable trust, the revocable trust would be used for probate avoidance is the main reason we see.
Yeah, so if we look at irrevocable trust, this is where they get a little bit different. So the grantor transfers the rights and ownerships to the trust itself. Mm-hmm. So they are no longer the owner of the trust itself. So trust itself owns the assets that are in it. You no longer own it because you're giving up that ownership.
Yeah, and you're not the trustee anymore. You have named someone or some entity other than yourself to be the trustee, and a trustee is the person that makes the decisions in a trust.
And the reason why most people do an irrevocable trust is for the protection aspect of it. Yeah. So it offers creditor or lawsuit protection. Many of us think of like the nursing home, okay, whenever we're talking about Medicaid and applying for Medicaid. This is a huge reason why people use irrevocable trust, is because it does offer that protection aspect of it.
Yeah.
And because it does, is because you do not physically own the asset anymore. The trust owns it, and you've given up that ownership.
And you don't have control. So anything you can control actually sometimes can be pulled back in lawsuits and things like that. But if you don't control it and you don't own it, they really can't link it to you. The other thing that this used for, we talk a lot in retirement about it being used for long-term care planning and things like that. But if you're a business owner, a lot of doctors may use irrevocable trust to protect their assets from work-related risk or liabilities that they have. So irrevocable trust can be used for a lot of different reasons, but in our office, we typically they were used for tax planning when it comes to estate taxes. Mm-hmm. But estate tax limits are so high, we typically don't see irrevocable trust being used for that reason right now.
That's right. And the last difference really between revocable and irrevocable is the tax difference. Yeah. Depending on how the trust is written, of course, like Ed talked about earlier, it does become a separate entity with its own tax ID number. Because it's no longer yours, it cannot fall under your social. It has to have its own tax ID number.
Yeah. And some of the disadvantages of it having its own tax ID number that you must be careful about is trust tax rates are different than individual tax rates. Mm-hmm. So you jump into the really high tax brackets very, very quickly under the trust tax rates because this no longer, if you're under irrevocable trust, is not a personal income. It is a entity income, the trust income, which is taxed at its own special tax rates, which are extreme. You get to the high brackets really, really quickly. So you have to be careful about irrevocable trust when you come to taxation. So once again, these are general highlights of the difference between revocable and irrevocable. As we said, the names kind of give the big picture as to why they're different. One you can revoke and one you cannot, generally speaking. And then you continue to own and control, you give up ownership and control over here.
And gain protection.
And gain protection. So in the financial world, you're always giving something up to get something. There's never this perfect world where we get to have the cake and eat it too. But this is a good little synopsis of the difference. So we hope that's helped. And as always, if you have questions on these, please come in and see us, call us. We'll be glad to help. This is one of the things we should probably mention. We're not attorneys, and we use attorneys in our office. I've probably seen thousands of estate plans, and we do a lot of estate planning help in our office and bring in outside attorneys that we feel would be best suited for whatever planning is needed for you. But hope this helped, and as always, God bless. Y'all have a great week.